What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your Brewmaster-in-Chief. And tonight in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you as usual with a daily little meta check-in. I think I'm going to start just doing this every day, briefly. It's quite insightful. One interesting observation, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. It still appears as though, at least as far as best of one standard, that mono white aggro is just like, it should be over a quarter of the matches that I'm playing. But that has just not been my experience. I've been playing standard all day. We can even go and have a look here, and this brings me to my next point. I have put a link to my profile in the channel, so you can now go over here and you'll see Untapped GG, my Twitch, and my Ether Hub. So you can see some of the decks I'm working on, win rates, that sort of stuff. Copy the decks. Yeah, so now you have an extra option. You can either go to Ether Hub or untapped.gg. The statistic I wanted to show you was this. How do I see this? There is a way to do this. I know there is. Okay. I played this deck, which is tonight's deck, a lot today. My most recent little stretch got a 78% win rate, so it's performing really well, and which is why we're going to do it tonight. And I played mono white 3 times out of how many matches? 17. That's not really sticking to what I'm seeing over here. So I don't know what it is about this brew in particular, but the matchmaker is definitely pairing me up with some interesting brews, and it's made for some epic magic today. I've been having a lot of fun with this one. So without further ado, let's jump into the brew. It is a Hallowed Haunting deck, a Selesnya Hallowed Haunting deck, one that I'm calling the Haunting Sunrise. And there is a good reason for that. It's because we're running 4 copies of Glorious Sunrise and 4 copies of Hallowed Haunting. It's a full enchantment deck. This started off as a banned list, and then I just cut the blue out. It was working better this way. So before I get lost on one of my usual tangents, I'll just do the usual and jump right into it. From the top, we've got 3 copies of Candletrap, which is a great way of making sure that the opponent's creature can now no longer attack. Of course, as well as triggering Hallowed Haunting, which says that as long as you control 7 or more enchantments, first of all, creatures you control have flying and vigilance. This includes your Lair of the Hydra, for example, so just keep that in mind. But then whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a white spirit cleric creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of spirits you control. So every single card except for Doomskar is an enchantment, and that will be triggering Hallowed Haunting as long as it's in play, which is what we're trying to do. Now, the second key card in this, before I get back to introducing the rest of the cards, is In Search of Greatness. Because the text specifically says that you have to cast an enchantment to get the trigger. So you can't have things like Storm the Festival, bring the spells from your library into the battlefield. It's not an ETB thing, it's a cast trigger. So, very important, because In Search of Greatness says that at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a permanent spell from your hand with mana value 1, it equals to 1 plus the highest mana value among other permanents you control. Of course, enchantments are all permanents, and you can cast it without paying its mana cost. If you don't, scry 1. So not only is this helping you filter the top of your library and always making sure that you're getting exactly what you need if you don't have something free to cast with it, which will then trigger the Hallowed Haunting. So insanely good engine. And of course, it is itself an enchantment. So if you draw one in the late game, you can cast it and trigger Hallowed Haunting. But anyway, back to the cards. Candletrap is really good for making sure opponents' creatures stop attacking. Then we've got Curse of Silence. The way I've decided to play this card is to name those glue cards, like you know, your expressive expressive iteration in Izzet, or your deadly dispute in mono black, and you don't sacrifice it and draw a card. You leave it in game, because anyway we're trying to build this 7 or more enchantments in play for the Hallowed Haunting. So I rarely sacrifice it to draw 2 cards, to draw a card by paying 2 colorless. I usually just leave it in there as a game-long tax on their most important sort of glue cards, if that makes any sense. Then we've got 3 copies of Paladin Class, and this is one of the win cons, okay? Not only is it good because, you know, opponent's spells have an additional 1 colorless tax on them if he's trying to cast instants during your turn, which is great. Then you can level it up and give all your creatures +1/+1, which is also great. But then level 3, whenever you attack, until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. So if we've got like 3 or 4 of these little spirit clerics in play, and they're now 4/4s, and they all attack, you know, can be game ending, especially if they all have flying and vigilance. Then, as our 2 drafts, we've already talked about In Search of Greatness. I've also just got a couple of copies of Circle of Confinement, which for 2 mana allows you to exile a target creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Circle of Confinement leaves the battlefield. Don't really care too much about the second part of the text box. If we end up against a vampire deck, I guess cool, but otherwise not that important. Then we got full play set of Borrowed Time, because we need some removal other than Doomskar and you know, these sort of pseudo removals. Borrowed Time is also an enchantment, of course, when it ETBs, which is different from an aura. Against things like Goldspan Dragon, if you target it with Candletrap, he gets the treasure token. With Borrowed Time, he does not. Then we've got some ramp. This one's kind of slipped below the radar. I never saw this card, and it's actually pretty cool. And I've got an idea for playing this in another deck. But like, if you put this on a creature land, while it's a land, it can tap to add 2 mana of any color, which is great. But if it's a, you know, once you activate it and it becomes a creature, then it gives it +2/+2. So pretty cool. Of course, the problem with that is that your opponent's Field of Ruins can kill your Lair of the Hydras. So more often than not, I'm putting my Nature's Embraces on basic land so that they cannot be removed by Field of Ruins. And then you just effectively ramping. You can play it on turn 3. And that'll allow you to cast Hallowed Haunting the following turn and keep up an additional mana to maybe cast a 1 mana white spell and trigger the Hallowed Haunting the very same turn. But it is, of course, also an enchantment, so if Hallowed Haunting is already in play, you know, I'm going to sound like a stuck record, but yeah, this also triggers it, of course. Then, Hallowed Haunting, main card of the deck. 4 of, obviously. We're trying to get as many of these on the battlefield as possible. Of course, we've got a nice little, you know, 3, 4, 5 curve here, which when you have those perfect opening hands with In Search of Greatness, play this on turn 2, on turn 3 you play Borrowed Time, on turn 4 you know, and this is all happening for free because of In Search for Greatness. Then you get down a Hallowed Haunting, and then you get down a Glorious Sunrise. Epic. Sigarda Splendor is just in here for a bit of life gain, as well as potentially drawing us some cards. As long as you have a higher life total than you did at your last end step, at your beginning of your next upkeep, you get to draw an additional card. So you do need to cast white spells to get the trigger to gain life. So that's why there's a lot of these 1 mana little white spells here, and that should help us gain a little bit of life and hopefully draw some cards. But it's not the only way we have of drawing cards. And you might think this is kind of a weird BrewLab deck. Usually I have a lot more card draw, but I'll get to it in a second. Then we've got 3 copies of Doomskar, because these, I feel like whenever I play these Hallowed Haunting decks, I just do need some sweeper. It's also often, if we don't have any sort of other turn 1 and turn 2 players, you just turn 1, play, I don't know, a Paladin Class, turn 2 for Tele Doomskar, turn 3 against the aggro deck, they've now got like a bunch of creatures out, you sweep the board, and then that clears the way for playing Hallowed Haunting on turn 4. You know, that's a very typical play pattern. Then we come to my favorite card in the deck, other than Hallowed Haunting and the deck's namesake, Glorious Sunrise. 5 mana enchantment with 4 different options. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, choose one. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. First of all, wow, okay, that already is amazing. Then we can also, this is the one that we choose least often, but it can help us sometimes cast Unnatural Growth, which does have 4 green mana in its casting cost. You can have a target land gain, add 3 green until end of turn, so that's pretty cool. Then, the card draw I was just referring to. Draw a card if you control a creature with power 3 or greater. Of course, we need to have at least 3 of these spirits in play for that to work, but that happens more often than not. And one of the nicest options is you gain 3 life, which alongside Sigarda Splendor is gaining me just enough to keep me ahead of the game against some of the aggro decks, which is really nice. So, last but not least, Unnatural Growth. Another 5 mana charmer which we often cast for free off of In Search for Greatness, which then of course triggers Hallowed Haunting, and then at the beginning of combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. So this is the combo kill, okay? And I've had this happen loads of times in testing today. It's the most satisfying win ever. The people don't expect it that much, because it's not a very played deck, okay? You have Paladin Class level 3, you have let's say 3 or 4 of these Spirit Clerics ready for action. You've got 7 or more enchantments in play, so they all have flying and vigilance. At the beginning of your combat step, so both of these enchantments trigger at the beginning of combat. So you order your triggers. So you put Glorious Sunrise triggers first. You put both of them on, gain +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. So now all your little Spirit Clerics also gain trample and +1/+1 for however many Glorious Sunrises you have on the board. And I've had multiple of them. It's epic. And then the Unnatural Growth comes along and doubles all of that. It's impossible to come back from that. They would all become, like, let's say in this example you had 4 of them, so they're all 4 4s, then they become 6 6s, and then they become 12 12s. So you have 4 12 12s with flying, trample, and vigilance coming your way. Game over. Curtains. And yeah, that is the brew. That's what we're trying to do tonight. And I call it the Haunting Sunrise because, yeah, it's just been absolutely made possible by this combination of cards. And yeah, as far as lands, 1 cave, 1 lair, some basics, some dual lands, 2 Field of Ruins. Typical stuff. Don't forget, before we jump into the games, like I did refer to very early in the video, the creatures you control that have flying and vigilance, Lair of the Hydra is a creature you control. Cave of the Frost Dragon is a creature you control when you activate it. So they will all get the flying and vigilance. And of course, don't forget to activate them before your combat step if you have Unnatural Growth and Glorious Sunrise in play, so that your creature lands also get the buffs. All right, I'm done. Let's jump into some games. As usual, at this point in my videos is when I do a little bit of self-promotion. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, kindly consider doing so. And there will be a giveaway triggered at 500 subs. You need to be a subscriber to take part in said giveaway. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And of course, if you could do all that other good YouTube stuff, that would be very epic. Leave a comment, hit the bell icon, and yeah, like the video, of course. Alrighty. That's okay. Perfect. Darius Gz. Yeah, I'll take that. We need another white source for Doomskar. Red has no enchantment removal, so I'm pretty stoked. Yeah, I'll take that. Let's get this down now. Let him play some more stuff before we sweep the board. Okay, that's quite a nasty hit. I'll take that. Goldspan Dragon. Knew it. That's just terrible. Nice. No treasures. Oops, almost cast the wrong spell. Skadoosh. Okay, stabilizing. Hopefully no more gold spans. Regent. What do you got? Show me the top. I'll take it. In this case, I'm gonna name Goldspan because I don't want him coming back. Is he gonna discard his whole hand? Interesting. We're dead. I was hoping to get 1, 2, 3, 4. Why haven't my guys got flying? Not entirely sure. 7. Oh gosh. That's good. Okay. Close, but no cigar. So close. So close. One more turn with a Hydra. Clawed my way into Plat 2, but slipped back the last couple matches. Plat 2 was definitely a lot more mono white and is it turns again. Maybe that's the reason for what I mentioned in the introduction. I was just in the lower plat. Now as we get higher to the top, it's back to meta. Hope not. It's been fun. McGarnacle 89. Sure. Bap. Apparition. Foretell? No. Definitely was the right call. So, Azorius Spirits. Probably a very similar strategy to mine. In terms of enchantments and things. It's a little bit frustrating. So next end step. I guess, yeah, I mean, I haven't actually been playing with this card. That's pretty good. It's not as good as, what was it called? Oh my goodness, the, what was it called? The dog. Faithful Pup or something like that. You would like sacrifice it and give something indestructible. This, sorry, not, what am I talking about? The 3/1 human. Discard a card, gains indestructible. Oh. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Interesting. Love another land. Thank you very much, deck. That is just lovely. One of these guys, huh? Parent. Caramba. Wow. What is he possibly thinking of? Like, yoga. Just can't imagine. It's his whatever fleeting spirit that's holding up priority. Oh my word. Thank you. Any day now. Oh, nice. Nice. Oof, I thought he was going to take my haunting. My goodness. World's slowest person. It's the fleeting spirit. He just like doesn't know that it's doing that or something. Whew. Goose rubber. Wow. Riveting content, guys. Riveting content. I know. You've got no mana open. Cute. Now we will get a free glorious sunrise off of the search for greatness, and that will make these 3/3s, which means we can draw a card, but we'll probably use it to gain some life. Problem is he's going to come swinging with this fleeting spirit is my belief. We'll be unable to, we'll have to block, and we'll take 4. It's not a very good target though. Because if he has to do the thing where he like discard and exiles, then the aura disappears. So I'm okay with that. Either way. Oh, come on, dude. Okay, that's just great. Free glorious sunrise, followed up with a delightful shablam. Thank you very much. And I will definitely probably I'm in no danger of losing any life next turn, so I'm gonna draw a card because we do need some cards. Bet she's been dying for that second blue source. Comes another Skyclave. Don't see why not. Of course. Oh, what? Wrong card. Unless you've got another one. Okay. Takes one of the creatures. And only take a creature. That's fine with me. Beautiful. Are we drawing multiple cards? Oh no. At least there wasn't an apparition. Really? This guy is really baffling me. Yes, please. Okay. Looking good. Free unnatural growth. And that's the game. Skadoosh. Close one. We got him in the end. Very nice. Very, very nice. Fun, 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 fun. A lot of back and forth. Felt like one of those brutal Cathar matches where everybody's got brutal Cathar and you're brutal Catharing his brutal Cathars. Ah. Pardon me. Alright, game 3. 32 minutes in. Gotta have at least time for a couple more. 1 win, 1 loss. Very close first loss. Perfect. 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 Like, wow. Amazing hand. Eggy, eggy. Alrighty. That's pretty interesting. Hello. Bouncy, bouncy. That's fine. Get a free haunting next turn, and then we can double cast. If he tries to Jawari it, we've got the mana. Another opponent has very deep thoughts. Nothing wrong with that, just... Now he could get Jawari'd, but we still get the trigger. Or do you have another Fading Hope for your egg? Okay. This is definitely a Lair deck. So gross. Kind of bored with it. Now the scrying becomes really, really great. Prevent some excessive flooding if possible. Case in point. Very nice. Skadoosh. Yeah, sure. Coming in hot. Sigarda. Hogan. He's got the mana to pay for it. Beginning of upkeep, exile the top card of your library face down. You may look at that card as long to remain exiled. You may play card. No. That's gross. That is disgusting. Disgusting. Luckily it doesn't, you know, because it's free, it doesn't trigger the smoldering dude. Wow. Just wow. Oh, come on, mate. Are you kidding me? This is just the worst thing ever. You have to be a real special kind of a person to do this sort of thing. Watch him cast another one. I'm ready. I'm not gonna stick around for that nonsense. Eight plus 12 potentially this turn. Almost certainly gonna flip that egg. Okay. I'm alright, thank you. Gross. Gross, 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 gross. Disgustingly gross. Horrible, 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 horrible brew. First time I've gone up against that in a while. So at least there's that. Kahinike. Got my little curve. If we get one more land, we're cooking. Bye-bye. Skadoosh. It's going really well. Free glorious. Oh, wow. Okay. Fantastic. Double strike. Boom. Boom. Race is on. 5 colored dragons. Oof, that hurts. Perfect. Perfect. I think we'll just casually swing in for a buttload of damage. Presenting a lethal. Imagine we just top deck Unnatural Growth just to really seal the deal. That won't do it. Okay. Just to illustrate. I could have done one more. It's also flying. Everybody gets the +1. So, Flying Vigilance Trample. Still gotcha. Nice. Boom. Okay, bit of a redeem after that terrible matchup against Is It Turns, and we've arrived at the 45-minute mark. So I'd like to end this on the win and jump into the deck again for my final thoughts and wrap up. So, yeah. Haunting Sunrise. Of course, you know, streamer's curse. I went on a 7-0 streak just before I hit record. And then the minute I start recording, we had a couple of bad losses there, but you know, that's variance for you. That's the way it is. But overall, 12 for 9, 57% win rate in standard, platinum rank. Really liking this brew. I highly recommend you guys give it a try. I wouldn't make a single adjustment. Things are running very sweetly the way they are. When you get that silver bullet of, you know, the In Search of Greatness in your hand, and Hallowed Haunting, and it just sort of takes off from there. If the opponent, you know, is very aggro and we don't get the Doomskar, it could be problematic, but otherwise it's just slaps and really, really fun. So that's it for tonight's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one for some fresh brews. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.